Instead of copying sheets, sometimes you need to move them. We're going to look at some different ways to move sheets. So let's say, for example, we want to move this worksheet over to here. Now, the easiest way to do it is just to click and drag it. In fact, it's very easy to click and drag sheets around. Almost too easy. Using the ribbon with the sheet selected, same place as we went to copy the worksheet, we can go and click the drop-down arrow on Format and Move or Copy Sheet and figure out where we want to put this. So I'll click here. I'll go ahead and notice that this time I'm not checking the Create a Copy box because I don't want to create a copy. I just want to move it. And then we'll click OK. Now you might be thinking it's a whole lot easier to drag a worksheet than it is to go over here and do it. And you're right. This way you'll have for sure on the test this method probably. Now one of the things we haven't seen yet is moving and or copying sheets to a different file. Sometimes you'll have a sheet here and you just want to put it in its own file or maybe move it to another file. So to do this, you can't just pick it up and drag it to another file. But what you can do is either right click and choose Move or Copy, or sticking with the ribbon method here, I'll click the drop down arrow on Format and I'll click Move or Copy Sheet. What I want you to focus on this time is where we're going to move the sheet to. Here's the file that we've got in front of us, Weekly Sales. Now right now it just so happens I have a couple of other files open. In fact, the same files that we imported in a previous exercise. So I'll click the drop down arrow and notice we've got quite a few files here. So maybe I want to move this to the first file near the end of it. And I'll click OK. And you'll notice that the sheet actually moved to a different file. If you're working on something and realize, you know what, this worksheet should be in a different file, just make sure that file is open and then you can move it. Now let me get back to the file that we were working on here, this Weekly Sales. Now sometimes you want to just move a sheet to its own brand new workbook. So instead of moving this particular copy to a different file, I'm just going to move it to a brand new file. Same method to start with. With the sheet selected, we'll click the drop-down arrow on Format. We'll click Move or Copy Sheet. Only this time, when I click the drop-down arrow, I'm not going to choose an existing file. I'm going to click New Book and click OK. And there it is. It's moved to a brand new book. Now at this time, I probably want to go ahead and save this file just to make sure of things. I'll click the Save button. I'll browse to the folder in which I want to save this. And I'll just give this a name. And save it. So keep in mind, when you're copying and moving worksheets, you don't have to stay in the same file. You can actually move these to different files or even to brand new files if needed.